Okay, so this video is just a little bit different than usual. The reason why is because this video is more geared towards doctors, and I've had a few doctors reach out last couple of years, really last couple of months that have kind of provoked this question. That is, what my thoughts are on milling machines and having your own milling machine in house. The process I was asking about my experience with one of my milling machines. So to give a little bit of background, I have 3 milling machines, 2 that I use actively. I have a Roland, and I have a Versamil5x200. You kind of see it here. That's kind of where my workhorse is over there. I love the machine. It's incredible. I actually, I wouldn't trade it. Here's some thoughts and some things that I want to share with you to kind of pay it forward. Man, it's cost me a lot of time and money figuring these things out. So if I can help someone, I definitely want to. So the machine, this Versamil, is great. Bought it from Axsys. Initially, things were great. A couple of things I'll say about this is that number one, if you're going to buy a milling machine, make sure that you, as the doctor, you learn how to use it. Don't outsource the training to someone else. Even if you say because what I did is I was like, well, I'll just record it, and if I ever need it, I'll go back to the videos. That's not a great idea. This machine is something where you learn with it, you grow with it, you experience it, and you get more confident in it. And if you have another technician in your office or someone else running it, and you put all your eggs in one basket, what can happen is a pandemic, and then all of a sudden you start to lose key people that know how to take care of the machines and maintenance, most importantly how to run it, the tips and tricks, the stuff that comes with time, And so number one, learn how to use the milling machine. I think that's so key. I wish I had known that. I outsourced it to for the first 2 machines to someone else, and then I had other doctors come in, and I let them learn the training. And it was a couple years down the road before I actually stepped in and learned to use it. And then you really truly, because here's what's the value in having your own lab. There's a lot of downsides, to be honest with you. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best option, but it can be a really great option for you if you really want to learn it. You have to understand how to mill. You have to understand how to use Hyperdent or Millbox. I think you need to learn how to use Exocat. And I design all my own cases. I mill everything. I do start to finish. I do green state. I sinter. You can see my sintering ovens behind me. I got a couple of porcelain ovens in the back. I do all the layering. It wasn't something I wanted to do. It's something that just out of necessity, I began to slowly had to take it over these things as I wanted a certain result. Most of my patients fly in from out of state. I would say on a scale of like 9 to 1, maybe 90% of my patients, new patients come from out of state. And so you're making some very big commitments to people. And so for me, it was hard to depend on designers and even my own technicians to make sure the cases were done and done the way you want them too, right? And so, okay, so making my second thing is if I was to go back, what would I do differently? Number one, definitely get the training, learn how to do it. Now, even if you're not doing it every day, make sure you understand that you could take a case from start to finish. I think it's really, really powerful when you understand it so that you can manage it. People don't, technicians won't respect you until you understand it. And secondly, when you're choosing the type of implant or the type of machine, my biggest thing is just making sure you have the support, making sure that there are multiple options to be able to have support. When I first bought the Versamil, it was great. Axsys was awesome. They had a pretty good team, and they had people over the weekend that you could get called. Like, a lot of times I would come on the weekends to finish cases up or be here late at night. Unfortunately, when you have your own lab, that's going to be the reality. At times, you're going to have to do that. It's not all rainbows and unicorns, And so it was great when they had lots of employees and stuff. But when the pandemic hit, obviously, like everyone else, there was a lot of disruption. And so this brings me to kind of what happened a couple months ago, which is all of a sudden my milling machine, I'm hitting the power button and it's not coming on. My computer's not powering on. I'm getting this like command where it it flickers on the screen and then it goes out. And call them and they're trying to help me get it going. And I'm like, okay, I'm asking for a certain person there that I know has been out to my office and I know him, and he's out on another call, like basically doing an installation. And so I'm working with another individual I've never heard of. Now, here's the thing is, again, when you have cases that you're sitting on, this can be very stressful. This is what happened to us, is that we basically were sitting, I've got all these cases, people flying in, they've already bought their tickets, right? And now we're sitting here, milling machine's not working. It's stopping my whole schedule. And so where it gets worse is that, so they have inexperienced people telling me to try this and try that. Whole time I'm asking them, well, can I just pay to have someone come out here? And they don't have someone to come out. They're saying that they think that, they just want me to try this, try that. I'm trying to see patients. Well, and where I get really frustrated is that I get that you're understaffed. I understand that. I truly understand that. And if they watch this video, this is my feedback that I've already given to them, but to hear it again from me would be fine. And that is that it's okay not to have the amount of staff or whatever. What's not okay is to just ghost people, meaning that, you call and you leave a message, they don't call back. You have your office manager call, leave a message. You text them on a phone that they always text you back on, they don't call you back. You text them on certain individuals, like, this is their cell phone because they gave it to you previously, they don't text you back. And we're going on 3 days before I get a call back. And then it's the inexperienced guy I've never heard of. And he starts telling me, okay, try this. And you can tell this person doesn't have the experience. And so now you're taking your expensive, six-figure milling machine and you're experimenting, trying to get it to work. And the end of the day, what happened is my fans, what we think most likely happens is my fans went out, overheated, did something to the board. And then, so I needed a new computer, and it should have been something quick to send from. So number two fault I don't like about Versamil, or the way that this is that now they said they didn't have one in stock. It had to send to Korea. And I have no problem being from Korea. I knew that when I bought it. But here's the thing is they didn't have any of these computers in stock. So now they're saying it could be a couple of weeks before I have one coming in. I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, if that's the case, that's devastating, but I'll deal with it. Order me two now, right? I'm like, I don't want if this ever happens again. I want two. Well, they're like, well, hold on. We're going to send a message to them. And once I get it back, they'll tell us what to do. I'm like, okay. But so here I am waiting. I'm like, learning from the first time around. I'm like, okay, so when am I hear back from you? We'll call you first thing tomorrow morning. So next morning comes and goes, and I start leaving text messages, email, phone calls, talking to like the receptionist saying, please get the manager to call me, and nothing. Until, I get a call at the very end of the day, like at 4:30, 5 o'clock my time. I'm ready to go home. Get a call. Now I'm staying after. And again, what I appreciate would be like, hey, doc, we're not available right now. We'll call you. Best guess would be like 3 hours, 4 hours. That, again, I would be unhappy with that result, but at least I appreciate the communication. At the end of the day, this went on and they started to pass me from least an experience to the next experience until finally Now we're 2 weeks in. This is going on. They shipped me out the computer, and I do feel like there was one person to the next. The story wasn't straight. One minute they had the computer, next minute they're like, oh, we're gonna have to probably go to Korea and you have to ship it. And the next thing they have it, and so it's like no one knows like what it felt like. And I can't prove this, but what it seemed like to me is that they had it, but they didn't want to give it to me. They were kind of figuring out where the resources need to be put, right? And I get that as having a business. I understand that's a decision you have to make. But again, honesty is always the best. And then, here we are like 4 or 5 days, maybe a week into it, and I find out like, oh, I get a call from their thing saying, you didn't pay your subscription for the yearly, to have support. And I'm like, well, you guys have my credit card. I've been buying all my burrs from you guys. How could you not? Like I told you guys, you in years past. So long story short, they didn't bill it. And so I think I was getting prioritized to the least important because I wasn't like the premium payer or whatever. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'd pay it right now. Go for it. And it was like, I don't know, can't remember exact amount, but at the end of the day, the next day, all of a sudden they're like, okay, here, your computer's coming out. We're sending a computer out. I'm like, well, that's all it was. So they send the computer out, but then once it gets here, so the next day air it out. And that was a whole nother story of itself as far as did it get sent, did not get sent, but it gets here. And the problem is that now this computer has to be basically set up for this milling machine. I plug it in, and again, this is all my time, guys. This is the thing that's frustrating. They know it's my doctor time. I'm taking that, canceling my whole schedule for this. I have other employees that know a little bit, but not one that's can affect my practice as much as this. And yes, I do have another milling machine that's it's slow though. The roll is really, really slow. And I hadn't calibrated it for a while, and I didn't really want to be testing on cases, right? I haven't used it for probably 8-9 months. And again, you need to go through a couple of cases, keep it calibrated. I hadn't really done much. At the end of the day, so they get the machine here, but they have no one to help me get it installed. So finally, they call me on Friday. This is a week and a half in, something like that. And the machine arrived on Thursday. Now it's Friday. They shipped it out. Well, the guy starts basically helping me get it installed at 5 o'clock. It gets to 7 o'clock, 6:30, 6:45, and we're trying to basically get it calibrated, right? We have to basically do this calibration, which I've never done before. It was done. I always paid to have them come out to do it. That's why I said that my first thing was, I'll pay you guys, come out here, fix it for me. I need this fixed tomorrow, right? No one's available. But I'm dealing with an inexperienced person still. I still don't have the main guy. And I don't want to use names here because I don't think it's certain employees necessarily that are at fault here. It's more of a company, a culture, I believe. It's a culture of, just not communicating well, not understanding, not communicating, not knowing what the left hand and the right hand are doing. All along, I'm sitting here experiencing the worst shutdown. And so I sit down and I'm trying to get this calibrated, and it gets to 6:30, 6:45, and this individual's like, hey, it's Friday, it's late, I gotta go. I'm only, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. What was the point of setting this out? I just need to get this set up so that I can roll. I'm gonna be here all weekend milling because I get caught up for the last week and a half of not having the mill. So he's like, sorry, I honestly, I can't do anything for you. I gotta go. I'm like, will you please get your manager? Well, he's not here. I'm like, I will pay you anything. Please don't just leave me hanging. I'm sorry, I can't help. So literally, guy hangs up. Oh, before he hangs up, he's like, well, you could continue trying to calibrate it. And he gives me some advice about what to do. Worst advice ever. It was so bad. As far as when you're trying to calibrate your machine and everything, I didn't understand the concept of what I was doing. So I just kept on doing this over and over again, not getting any closer. But he didn't understand either because he was young. But I stayed all through the weekend trying to get this calibrated, only to get a call on Monday, and by the one that was actually experienced, and he's like, what's going on. And because I tried to mill a case, I tried just a small crown, and it wouldn't even pick up my burrs, right? So then they find out that they sent the machine they sent to me has all the wrong parameters. So they upload the new parameters. Now this is like on Monday or Tuesday, and they get me to go in the back, and I'm literally pulling everything apart in the back of the machine, trying to, these parameters, and I'm trying to make everything, and it still doesn't mill. So finally, the guy that, the main guy, the good guy that calls me and is like, yeah, this doesn't sound good. I need to get out there. I don't have anything, I think, on this day. And I'm like, well, you got to talk to your manager, man. I'll pay. I do anything, man. Like, I'm not expecting anything for free. I'll pay whatever it takes. I just need this fixed. At this point, like, literally, I'm just sitting and I'm just got all these patients that need these devices. And so he says, yeah, he'll call me back and let me know. I said, well, let the manager know. Manager never calls you back. And so they basically schedule a week later for him to come out. Again, at this point, I'm just grateful they're coming out. And I've canceled so many people. I don't know when it's going to get fixed. So he comes out a week later. At this point, I'm not sure if he's going to get it fixed, but he seems pretty confident. He literally flew in at 9:00, and I think his flight was like at 1. He literally came in, and in a matter of a few hours, had calibrated it, fixed it, got everything right, and it's been milling great. So why do I say this? This big, huge, long story is this, and this is my biggest thing is, it doesn't matter if you have a great machine, you need the support and manpower. So when you're trying to, like, there's new installs, right? It's like in dentistry, right? You can start new cases, or you can also finish cases. It's exciting, and you get more money, new money coming in when you start new cases, right? But there's all these commitments. My mantra, what I believe in, is that you shouldn't be starting new cases if you have people waiting for you. I mean, I feel like I was prioritized so low. In the end, it almost took me like 2.5 weeks from the milling machine going down, and all it was a few hours of work. There was a lot of things that we're talking days that I won't get back, my personal time, trying to make this work, because I'm a guy that gives my all. And but I learned a ton, and I appreciate that. There's an experience you can learn from everything. But if I could go back and do it all over again, I would look and ask this question: what is the machine out there? And I don't have the answer for this, and I don't really endorse any one machine. But what machine out there is they have the most robust team, that is the healthiest, that has the capabilities of being able to support me? Meaning, there's online support, which is great, and most of the time they can do that. But do they have extra? Can you pay extra to make sure that you're on their top list to be able, Versamil, they have, or Axsys, you pay them, an annual fee. But I wish they had a premium fee, like for the doctors like me, that like their whole business depends on these machines, that you pay extra to be prioritized up higher, And so because it was really frustrating and hard to kind of navigate that. It's working great again. There's a couple little tweaks. I need to get it sped up a little bit. I feel like and here's the other thing too, is make sure that once you get it calibrated, that you get it backed up. I didn't have a backup. They never told me to get a backup. I have a network IT company that runs every other computer in my office, but Axsys told me not to let anyone access this. So everything else is backed up in my whole office. But guess what? This information isn't. Well, if that had been backed up, it would have saved me a lot of time. When I had to redo so many of the things. And so again, it's just like in everything, you got to pick a business that you feel like it doesn't just want to sell you equipment. They're in it to make sure that you are happy, as a customer. And that's a big commitment from them, for sure. And a lot of people don't take care of their machines. I literally do all my maintenance. I take care of this little baby. It's like my little, it's like a Tesla to me, right? I mean, it's literally the cost of a lot more than a couple Teslas anyways. Maybe 3 Teslas, I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, my advice is, I love this machine. Would I buy it again? Probably not. I would probably find a machine that's comparable, that has a better has more than one vendor that sells it that can support it. I would look for a company that basically just has more videos, right? Like I told them that their calibration video on YouTube was just horrible. I need to make a calibration video for all these guys out there that use this type of machine, because I had to figure this out, and I did figure it out. And so if I ever had to recalibrate again, it would take me minutes instead of days. I mean, I probably spent like 12 hours. But again, going off of what was in the manual and what's on YouTube, there wasn't a lot there. So it goes back to getting the right training, paying attention. But I love the machine. They're fantastic people, Axsys. But my biggest feedback to them is it's okay not to be able to have, not to be overwhelmed. I've been there. We all have. But you don't go as doctors. You don't just not return. And there's two words that I really believe make a difference on everything. It's I'm sorry. And there was never, to this day, there's never been, doc, I'm sorry. Like I think that is arrogant, and I think that it is to me that like I did deserve some sort of I'm sorry. We should have handled this better. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You say you're going to call me back, you call me back. If you say you're going to give me, again, at the end of the day, just do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't do it, don't say you're going to do it. Last thing is, there are a couple individuals there that are incredible, and I really appreciate it. The guy that came out that helped me was awesome. I wish they had more of those guys. They're trying. I believe they're trying. But from a top down, I think it comes from when you're talking to the senior person and they are not keeping their commitments, then why would the lower employees keep their commitments too? You got to, if you say you're going to do something, you got to do it. You don't get busy. You don't go home. You don't I'm not going to tell a patient that I'm going to do something like I will stay here until it's done. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Or I'm going to renegotiate it. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't do this, but I'm reaching out to you because I don't want you to think I'm just forgetting about you. I know it's stressful. I'm sorry, right? Like it's, I can tell it was a traumatic experience for me. So at the end of the day, I love my machine. Would I buy it again? Given what I've gone through, no. Maybe you won't go through this experience, but I hope no one has to go through this experience. But get the training, understand how to calibrate it, make sure that you're going to do the right maintenance on it. My machine is incredible. I love it. My other machine is great too. It just takes a lot longer. The rolling machine just takes longer, and there's some little issues here and there. But I don't know. I'm not the best person to know what's the best one out there. Go to Lab Day Chicago, Lab Day West. Go to DSI, IDS in Cologne. I've done that a couple times, and going there, seeing what they have. You really, I believe that anytime you buy something or you invest in a company, you start to consume that product. It falls on you as the doctor to take the time to understand the company. Like when I was placing implants from a company from, and I won't need to start name dropping here, but different countries. I go to Brazil. I tour the facility. Even if they don't pay to have me come out, I'm like, I'm coming out. I want to see it. I believe there's a lot more credibility, and when you see people, you can see there's things that are in a brochure and on a website that you see personally, and it's much more powerful to walk. And when you walk that walk, you can really stand behind a company. So that's what I didn't do with the Axsys. I didn't go out there. I sent another technician out there, and again, don't make the same mistakes I did. I hope this really helps you. I'm gonna try to make more videos. I haven't taught a course this year for doctors. I'm hoping still by the end of the year I can get something amazing put together. I love to teach. I love to share my passion with people. I do still have an online course that talks about All-on-4 and the process and from start to finish. And so you can look that up. It's at Fearless Kingdom. I think it's fearlesskingdom.com. Fearless Kingdom. I've been there for a while, but you can look it up. I'll try to put it in the notes. But hang in there, guys. It's not an easy process. If you go in-house, just know that this is a process. Some of the doctors that are really effective have gone all over the place, learning from the best. There's been great mentors. I will not drop some names. Goran is a guy I learned how to design. Got to give me a good foundation. I can't remember his last name. It's really hard, but look him up. Goran is awesome. If he sees this, I love you, brother. Haven't seen you for a while. John Abenheim's a great friend of mine. Wish we were better friends. I feel bad we just don't connect so much. But John's amazing. I went out there years ago and kind of saw what he was doing. I don't use the same process. He has a unique process, but that's great. I use ICAM 4D. Love that. I think the Dan Rosen screw is awesome. John Abenheim screw, Powerball is great. I still use DES a ton. I'm just throwing some quick things out there. But I travel all over the world to kind of learn what I did. I've gone to labs. I went to, spent a lot of time learning the analog way out in Sarasota, Florida, up in Pennsylvania. The two different big denture companies, learning that. I set denture teeth. When I started using Neo, I went and saw what's his name down in Colorado. You travel to get the best education possible. And so if you do that, you get better. But just don't think that getting an in-house lab is the easiest thing in the world. It can be incredible, but get the education. You're gonna have to slow down your practice. You got to slow down your practice and willing not to make as much money to invest in the training, the team, to be able to sustainably, again, sustainable is the key, sustainably build a practice that has a lab inside of it. So anyways, if you have questions, comments, put them on. I'll do my best to respond to it. But I hope this is helpful for some people out there. And to those at Axsys, I still love you guys. I would love to have I'd love to clear the air and see an apology of a way to, I don't hold grudges. I'm just telling it straight like it is. But best to you guys. I appreciate it. And I hope this is helpful. We'll see you.